Lakers and Nuggets,
and
baby.
then Heat Celtics.
Oh, Hero's cleared to resume basketball activities now.
Who?
Hero.
Are they gonna come back if they make it?
I don't know if he might come back for the
Finals
if they can get there. Well, they should get there. No team's ever blown a 3-0 lead.
Yeah.
I just
if
don't
they
know
did
if,
that, like Butler would get trashed on.
But Butler's already made it to one finals, so no matter what, at the end of the day,
These are the 4 teams, man, and look at the outcome
bubble,
right now.
the same as the bubble, man.
Yeah.
Oh, and we'll talk about that too. Remember, everyone's talking shit about the bubble, and it's the same teams. They made changes around them though. Other than AD and LeBron's changed the guys around him. Murray, Porter, Porter was just I think almost a second or third year player. No, he was like almost I think a rookie or first year player at the time too. And then now look at him now.
No, they've been turning their shit around, and fuck, man, Denver was the number 1 seed.
Yeah,
There's a reason why they were. They got like
But
so
then
many.
in
But they
my-
had like out of those 4 teams, basically right now, all of the teams have chemistry, but Lakers. They're the only one that basically has a brand new team. Everybody's been rocking their team 5+ years minimum.
Yeah.
That's a bare minimum with guys. Some teams have been fucking rocking it.
the thing with the Lakers is that's just the way their teams are. They have
Yeah.
to trade guys, and they do that. That's LeBron.
do.
That's how you do it with LeBron. It gets you a title though.
Yeah, it does.
Right? Like it's
If you're
his,
in the game
his
of titles-
strategy is he literally comes in year 1, you have all your draft picks, all your players, and then your teams just they're figuring out who you gotta keep, who you gotta let go.
Yeah.
By the time you get to year 2, dudes are getting traded, players are being brought in. Year 2, 3, and 4, usually 2 and 3, you're going for titles. You got a title, you might not, you're semifinals.
Yeah.
Year 4, everyone's kind of like teams getting tired of each other, shit's going down. One last run, and then
Yeah.
LeBron usually pieces out after year 4. Lakers is
Yeah.
the longest he stayed with a team
Yeah.
since he started moving around because even with Miami, he stayed for 4 years. Right? Stayed
Yeah,
with them for
4.
4 years and then bounced. He stayed with Cleveland for how many years?
3, 4 for sure.
I think it was 4 years.
Can't remember. Yeah, it was probably 4.
He stayed, I think it was like 4 years, right? So he stayed with them, got him a title.
Because he battled Golden State probably 4 games.
3 times for sure. Oh,
3
maybe
for
4?
sure. Because remember
Might
he
even been
went
4.
8, 9 years in a row to the finals? That
He
was his
went,
lthink one.
like, I think
from
it was like
going from
8
Miami to
4 for them, and then he faced Warrior, Golden State 3 or 4 times. I think it was 8 straight.
So it was Golden State. They played at least 4 times, I think, right?
Well, yeah, let's take a look and see what LeBron.
Because Golden State, they only beat Golden State once,
yes,
and they got 3 in total against LeBron.
They got 1. Who's they beat the
and then
first
they got
year?
that 4th one, just that like kind of fluky. They jumped in there and won that one.
Which one? The Warriors one?
Warriors, like the
I guess,
last one.
but the thing with that one, it's like saying the Lakers one was fluky. They're all hard in their own way because of the
They are.
bubble and stuff, right?
But
So-
I liked it. I like it when it's Curry has to go through LeBron though, because against each other, he's 2-1 against him without the KD.
The problem with LeBron is the last 5 years he's been so injury prone,
Yeah.
right? I think
And it's
the only
expected.
year he's so like
People
he's just,
can't be like, oh, at this age he should be a
but
20-year-old.
But that's the reason they haven't done it is because Curry's been able to stay healthier.
He's
where
just
LeBron
trying to stay in
hasn't.
the league and trying to play for championship. That's just hard. It's a guy's like, yo, I'm going to continue playing at this age. I could be like,
Yeah.
just kind of retire and be like, yo, I'm
But
done.
that's the thing with LeBron is you're only going to get like 80, 90%. Again, he was saying he's better than 90 to 95% of the players in the league, which he is.
100%.
The only thing with LeBron is, though, he's not always going to be the best player on the court like he used to be. Like in this series, Jokic outplayed him.
Oh, yeah.
Flat out,
Man.
Jokic was the
He's been
right.
He's
so
been waiting, man. It was his moment. Like he's been right there since he was a
100%.
rookie to where he got to now.
they made right.
He was
like
controlled exactly. Like he got controlled into like that perfect system, and he fucking
even
ruled it.
KCP said about both of them. He's like, "What's the difference between those guys?" Like LeBron's got athleticism; he can jump. The way that both of those players' minds work is just unreal. The thing with Jokic, he's in his prime. He's 28
he's
right
young
now,
right now.
right? And then LeBron is 39,
difference,
right?
but
So
a decade of a
LeBron's
difference.
mind is still as sharp as it ever was. That hasn't faded on him at all. The only thing with LeBron now is, though, he can't do the same things for as long as he used to.
No.
There's still glimpses of LeBron when he takes over
And
games.
you do not want him playing what he did, fucking every minute. of that
48
game.
minutes for
Bro,
one
they-
game.
And that should show people that a guy that scored that many points and played fucking that long That's not an easy thing to do at that
The
age.
shitty thing about him for the Lakers was that he was gassed by the time he sort of got 20 in the first quarter. He had 30 at halftime, and then he only got 10 points in the second half. And the fourth quarter, he wasn't even running around like he was
tired.
He was tired, right? Like
it's like, but the thing is, you can't rely on him the entire game.
that's the thing.
If somebody's getting you 40 points, there has to be a guy scoring a minimum of 25 to like 30.
But the thing is,
So if you're under that, it's brutal. Like AD being under that so many different times.
But AD got 21. He wasn't as usual. Austin Reeves had his 20 plus, but the series, the same guys that did well in the first two rounds, the Schroeders, the Russells. Russell especially.
Russell rocked it. But it was that style of play against that team did so well that where they played together, and then they play a team that they're just like, how do you stop, like Gordon's huge, Porter's huge, freaking you got Jokic. Murray's actually, for his size, still a pretty like squeaky guy, and he can literally shoot from anywhere. Scariest shooter, I think, in the league.
When he goes...
Him and Booker probably right now.
If you ever listen to his shot, when he hits his threes, he hits the back of the rim. It's got that. He's got the swish with the back of the rim. It's such a distinct. It's such a distinct, deflating sound hearing that shot go against you when he makes those. And some of them, even AD and LeBron were saying same thing with Jokic. The defense was great.
Yeah.
There was a great defense. They did their job, and they still made the fucking shots at the end of the day.
Crazy shots.
And every single game, they didn't get blown out in a single fucking game. They lost by 2. They lost by 4, I think. I think the combined total was it was around 15 to 20 points.
Dude, that 3 he scored over his head at the end of the game. If he had missed that, Lakers win by 1.
But that's the thing,
That's all it was. If that 3 was the only one in the last, it was like 40 seconds, 30 seconds, and he scored that 3, if it didn't go in that time.
He never hit he got the bucket after. The 3 was earlier. That 3, the one where there was no time left and he's running back, that was earlier in the game.
He did it twice.
Oh, he did do it. Yeah,
the last one, it was in the last 35 seconds of the game. And he comes in right over AD, and AD looks at him again like, how, dude? We got you again. Time's running. He somehow still saw the clock, the Joker. Yeah. Right? He just looks at the clock.
And on top of that, I think LeBron even said, he's like, that's the 4th or 5th time he's done it in this series.
He's practicing.
He did it twice today. He did it. They're like, what's your signature shot? He's like, nobody knows.
Yeah.
He's like, that's my signature shot. Is nobody knows how he's going to shoot it, where he's going to shoot it.
That's such a sick one. And remember, the fucked up thing is the type of shot he had. LeBron did it one time where he actually meant to pass it up to
the one where he threw it from the...
He tried to give it to Rui, and it was the same shot. The exact one over the head, and it goes right in, swish basically.
That was the first 3 he made, all serious.
Yeah.
That one.
So think of that shot. That's a Jokic shot that he scores regularly. It's a very pretty good shot.
LeBron's was a pure pass though.
But it was in such a good spot. It was gonna hit something.
But at the end of the day, LeBron did his part.
He did.
But he wasn't. I would say LeBron was. You know what? Some people say he's the second best player in the series. I think he was the 3rd best player in the series, behind Murray and Jokic. And you know what?
He didn't get a chance to look better. And you know what?
If you look second place or you say he was better than Murray, I'm not going to argue you because I think that some people believe that and I can see that too. Yeah. But the problem was Jokic was still the best player in the series by far. Yeah. And AD, no matter what rotation you put it in, was 4th.
And he let Murray, those pick and rolls they were doing, he was getting Murray fucking shots. And if he's putting in mid-range, he's probably got the best mid-range right now in the NBA. He can shoot, Murray, man. He can shoot from any spot, and it's like a 90% chance that shot's going in. His percentage, obviously, it drops a bit after so many shots, but you're in your head, you're like, 90% chance that's going in.
Well, he got his 30 in one of these games, and then Jokic took over in the 4th and got his 15.
They had enough guys step up.
That's the thing, too, is look at the guys that Jokic and Murray have around. They got KCP. Murray, KCP, they got, who else they got? They got
Jordan,
Porter.
Or Gordon.
Yeah, Porter, there's your starting
Porter
5
is
right
huge
there.
Too, man.
But,
such a big guy.
What is it? Bruce Brown off the bench?
That guy's deadly.
He's been awesome.
That guy's deadly.
And why did no team want him in the offseason? He came for the Nets, and he's the perfect fit for them. Gordon's had a career year playing with Jokic with all the off-the-ball cuts. The way that Jokic's mind, he works and makes the rest of the team, no matter whatever players they're doing have to do individually, he can get him a good shot every time. And that killed the Lakers at the end of the day because no matter how hard LeBron tried, he couldn't do it by himself for 40 plus minutes every single game like Jokic could.
Yeah.
And that was a huge difference. The old LeBron could have, but LeBron
Jokic
didn't get the
at
same
least
help
got
though.
rest time. Like, you know how long he sits? Him and AD were the two longest sitting players.
And they both still played 40 plus minutes.
Yeah, and they had to like literally sit for like long periods of time. Where like at one moment it was just Braun like didn't sit. He had to be the floor general, and he's the oldest guy. Whereas you want AD probably out there even more, making plays, hitting the paint.
But he can't do that. That's his issue.
He's too soft in the
They
paint.
need another playmaker with LeBron to take the load off him, so you can actually rest him.
Yeah.
And everyone's like saying, "Let's go get Kyrie." And I even said that at one point too. But then I'm looking at it. If just saying, if you want to go down, let's say you want to get Kyrie, if you do a sign and trade with him, you're hard capped first of all.
Yeah.
And he also has to take a pay cut on top of that for Kyrie. If you don't re-sign him, you think maybe there's some team that could get like a veteran point guard that wants to play with LeBron for a year?
I think they go for Trae Young. I'd say they jump in there and be like, yo, you could stay there with that program, or do you want to compete against the teams we're
So
competing?
who would you have to give
he's
up?
stuck in the East, man. Boston's just
who
running
and what?
through,
But who and what do you give up?
It's a lot, man.
Because
Rui's going to be gone. There's going to be a couple
Rui's
guys.
restricted free agent, right?
Yeah.
Reeves you have to keep. Like, you're not going to bring in Trae Young and get rid of Reeves.
Yeah. No, Reeves you're going to have to keep.
That's what I'm saying. So if you
He'd have to take a pay cut.
Reeves is going to get paid by somebody, and the Lakers are going to have to match whatever
Probably match
he gets.
at least. I think he won't leave, though.
I don't think he's going to leave, but
he's
the
not
problem
gonna-
is the Lakers can only go 4 years and 53.
And he's going to have to accept almost.
But another team can go 4 years
can.
and whatever,
But it's
and
like,
they have to
dude.
match. They have to.
Oh,
they can match. But here's the problem: like, by another team matching, you now put him in a situation where he's making $20 million a year, and on top of that, after next year, the new cap and the new CBA agreement kicks in, and you can't do so many things that you can currently do right now.
Yeah.
So, Lakers are kind of in a tough spot where they got to find some guys for cheap. But none of the options that are going to make a difference are cheap right now. Anyways, Trae Young is going to cost you salary and players.
Oh, 100%.
But they don't have very many draft picks, or at least enough. If I was Atlanta, to be like, we're not going to take 2 first-round picks for Trae Young and call it a day.
Yeah.
They don't have enough young guys and other players to make a move. Right? I mean, I would love if they got him.
That'd be a crazy one.
He would make a difference for sure, but I just
Huge
don't see what
difference.
Atlanta's going to take from the Lakers roster.
He's like a fucking, what's his name, Schroeder on steroids. Like, he's like, can play that role for Lakers, but he's probably like one of the best players in the league at scoring.
His issue with him is that he is going to get absolutely. He's the worst defensive player in the league.
But that's the best thing for Lakers. They have one of the best defenses right now. So you already know 100% when your defense breaks down who has to get back first. You have to know that there's chances that even if he gets back there that he might fuck up, so you might have to play somebody always to the rim.
Well, I don't know if he's the answer for what they need. He answers some of the questions that they need. They need a playmaker guy who can do all that. I get that.
And a shooter from logos.
Well, I mean, to be honest, if you're going point guards, why don't you just take DeJounte Murray off their hands?
That's another one. That's even a better one.
Right? Like, if you're going to go point, he probably fits them better from a defensive perspective. Because like when LeBron and them did their best, even their point guard can play some defense, and they're all 3-and-D guys. They shoot threes. They can all play defense. They can all do their job. Yeah. But now with LeBron, they don't have enough 3-and-D guys. Like, Vanderbilt can shoot threes.
He couldn't.
Rui's a great scorer, but he's not, like, I think he shot 53% from three-point line. But I don't think he's going to do that again next. I mean, maybe 35, right?
You'd have to see him at least one more time.
If he can stay around that 37-ish, 38 range, you'll take it.
Yeah.
You'll more than happily take it. But the problem with that is that, let's say that he does become a regular 3-point shooter. LeBron shot 31% from 3 this year.
Yeah.
And it dropped to 24% in the playoffs. As great as a player LeBron is he's going to have to find a way to be able to shoot threes at a better percentage, so the defenses have to give him a little bit more respect. Then he can actually drive on him, right? I'm not saying LeBron's going to be a 40+% 3-point shooter, but can he shoot 36?
Straight up.
37 maybe, if you really were like, you know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, AD was horrible from 3 as well.
He was.
He was in the low, I think he was in the high 20s.
Shoots. So, like, his thing is he'll shoot maybe 2 times in a game, 1 goes in. But if he shoots only one, sometimes it'll be 1 for 1, or he'll be 0 for 1. So you're kind of hoping he actually takes some threes because his percentage on that is just decent enough for him to attempt it. You have to scare people.
He used to be, I think, in the bubble run, he was like 37%, just enough to give the teams respect.
Yeah.
This year,
which is a high percentage, 37. Like some of the top guys, like Murray, look at how many threes he hit. He's only at 39.
But that's what I'm saying. He's 33% here is not even a good one. I think you have to be in the 35s. Mm-hmm. So even if you get like those guys shooting like 36%, like 35 is still. You want a guy maybe shooting a little bit better, 36ish. But the thing with AD is that if it was just him as the only non-3-point shooter, you could kind of live with it. But the Lakers as a team were not a good 3-point shooting team. They had LeBron. You had AD not shooting well from three. Schroeder's shot went in and out all year.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So a lot of these guys are not consistent enough 3-point shooters. So if you're looking at ways to how are you going to make this team better, without paying a lot of guys, you're going to have to find guys who can be point guards, and you're going to have to find some 3-and-D guys. Maybe you can get a veteran to come play with some of those guys, and you keep a couple. So
give me a lot of choices.
I mean,
I like the Murray and Young. If they could work something out and go that way, but it's going to be a lot of work.
The
Austin Reeves thing, think of it, like say a team comes in, they're like, hey, this is our offer. And Lakers, already have their offer. They don't have to 100% match the other one if Reeves is willing to sign with Lakers for that cheaper one, though?
No, Reeves is just going to wait until the team won. So basically...
But even if he didn't wait, like say they're like, you know what, you're going to get to still play with LeBron on the Lakers... do you want to take this one or that's their offer? You have a chance to match, but you don't have to, right?
So basically for Reeves, he knows he can get more than 4 years, $53 million, right? He knows it, and to be honest, his agents probably already talked to teams and shit. They have an idea, right? Like no matter what happens, they have an idea. No matter what even if it's not on a 4-year deal, even if it's a 3-year deal, he can get 50. He could get a 2-year deal for 50. Like, no, 2 years is a little too much. Sorry.
3 for sure.
3 for sure, right? 3 years instead of 4 years, and then he gets the free agency quicker again.
Yeah.
And, right? But if the thing with him, though, is he hasn't made a lot of money over his career. He's an undrafted player. Some team could come in and offer him 4 years, $80 million.
Yeah.
But they don't have to necessarily go 20-20-20. What they could do to fuck over the Lakers. So next year, teams can basically go and offer him 10 million this year
30.
and 30 next year. The reason you want to do more the year after, do 10, 30, then it's 20 and 20. So the reason you want to do it more after next year is because the cap penalties get harsher, and it's harder to sign these some of these guys, right? So
and teams get more money too.
We'll talk about in a minute, because when we talk about Celtics, they got 2 guys that need to pay as well, right? So with the Lakers, if the issue isn't going to be Reeves wants to stay, it's how much is it going to cost them for Reeves to stay? Because they have the same. Who was the guy they traded a few years ago? He had a really good year. Oh, Talen Horton-Tucker.
Oh yeah.
Remember, they had the same situation. He did really good in his 3rd year.
He was just playing recently. Who's he on?
I think he's New Orleans or some shit.
Yeah, he played against. I remember him playing against the Lakers.
He's so random, right?
Yeah.
Like he was the same. I'm not saying Austin Reeves seems like a more all-around better guy.
Way better.
But the thing is, they were second-round undrafted players. Their first-year contracts for 3 years. Now teams can get new offers. And in his situation, he signed for a deal. But if you're the Lakers, if you're Reeves, you're going to wait, because no matter what happens, Lakers are going to match, right? Yeah. But if you're Reeves and some team gives you 4 years, $70 million, Lakers are going to match it. But now you've made an extra $17 million just because you waited, your agent's done his job. If he doesn't think he can get it, which I sincerely think he actually will be able to get it,
he's going to get it.
This playoff run made him so much money.
And defensively, people see the offense he can get, but defensively, the bodies he takes... Like, this guy can draw a charge. He's like a Kyle Lowry, when they get in that area of just for defensively, they want to get a charge.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm not the biggest guy here. I'm not going to be able to just reject guys like LeBron, AD. I'm going to have to play a different game. I got to be the role player of now I'm near guys where they might come and hit me, and now we got the ball back. Like, that's how I got it back on this play.
He's a phenomenal player.
He's like that other guy they had.
He's just
the other Goda that left.
Oh, Caruso, I think he's better than Caruso.
No, he's better, but like
No, Caruso,
that kind of role he just jumped into. Basically.
Caruso was a better defensive player.
Yeah.
I think, and he's a better offensive player. But the thing is, they both play well off LeBron.
They do.
Right?
They can play to their own strength.
Reeves can do a bit more with the pick and roll, and he was making some great plays
fast,
with the bat,
man.
right?
He's a fast white kid.
So teams are now probably going to figure out which side.
With Golden State's like, we'll give you guys Poole. Give us Reeves.
I don't. That's
Lakers shouldn't bite, obviously, but if Lakers ever bid on that, that'd be pretty bad. I would not want to see Reeves in a Golden State.
But the thing is, like, Lakers don't have assets they can offer up. If you're the Warriors, I think you would take that deal in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Like, so why would you do it if you're the Lakers?
Yeah. For them, it would be like, yo, do we really need Poole after, especially what happened in the playoffs? I think that brought his stock down.
I think Poole can
still
hit, but I think that the punch with Draymond and all that shit played a huge part. So I think he still got some value.
Emasculated basically within your team.
And it was just
you got punched,
awkward.
and there was no like any. The news stories are you got punched.
Yeah.
So Draymond took a hit on that, but everything says you got punched. Like you were the bitch of that kind of thing, and you didn't get a chance to retaliate or kind of defend yourself.
At the same,
it was a one-way.
But what was he gonna do? He was in a no-win. Is he gonna punch Draymond back and start a brawl?
You might have to. You gotta defend yourself.
At the same time, that when you saw the punch, everybody stepped in so quickly. I don't think he even got a chance to respond. But the thing is, no matter what,
it was a bad punch though too.
But Poole got paid though.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, right. Poole got paid. Draymond didn't.
That makes sense.
Draymond could have got a contract this year too. But they chose to sign Poole over what Draymond could have done because Draymond could have declined and done his shit anyways. But
he's definitely
if I'm just going back to the Poole comment, I think some team would trade for him.
Well, hell yeah.
But the thing is, whoever you're going to send back is going to have salary to send back, and Lakers don't have even if you don't sign. If you sign Rui. You've already paid, like LeBron's making 47. I think 80 somewhere in the 40s himself.
Probably fucking.
Reeves is probably going to, let's say you give him on the low end like $18 million per year, right? You've already paid him. Then you're paying Rui whatever money that he's going to get.
Yeah.
And that's just for 4 guys, right? 4 guys.
Rui's on his
restricted.
What?
He's restricted.
But he's not rookie still.
No, he's on
after that?
The 4 years. He's done his 4 years. So he's done his time. And now it's time for the teams to pay up.
And now it's time to find out where you might have a long-term future. Like, this team that you're going to play for on this next contract is obviously going to be long-term. You're not looking for some short-term contract right now.
I think if you're Rui, though, the thing with LeBron is you don't know what LeBron's going to do. Like, is he going to retire? Is he not going to retire? Yeah. What's his plan?
Which is a huge thing.
How long is he going to play for? Right? So
2-year contract. He's definitely going to ride out 1 more year. Does he finish that second one? Because I think he has the opt-out on the second one. So it's like he gets a choice. Do I continue this? And is my son one and done and coming into the league? Which is like, that could factor into something. Just playing maybe in the league, just enough to play like against them. And that's it, and be like, yo, I played my whatever.
LeBron A's got to turn out $50 million for that player option. Is how much it's worth.
Yeah.
Second,
if he's smart, take a hit. He's got money in the bank.
I think that's the thing is I don't think LeBron is doing it for the money as much. I think he can still play.
Yeah.
But the thing with LeBron is he just can't play 48 fucking minutes a game and expect him to be LeBron for a full 48 minutes. You can't give him that long. So
35 max.
And that's the thing is even 40 you're kind of pushing it at his
35
age, right?
to 40 in that range, never more.
He needs to be on the Tim Duncan plan where no matter what happened. But the thing with Tim Duncan is he had better players around him that could lift him up in the regular season, right? So that's where AD is another guy that are you gonna be able to rely on him for a full season as well. So he's made out of glass himself.
Every game is basically like praying. They say like the Mexicans in LA always do a prayer to every game.
And he's always got these weird injuries and shit. So if you look at LeBron's supporting cast, do they have enough to be a playoff team? Yes, they do.
Yeah.
I think based on what the players they have, they can be a playoff team. But can they be an NBA contender? I still think they need to find guys, need to find them for cheap. And they need to find the same guys that everyone else are looking for. A playmaking point guard, which everybody in the league wants.
Everybody right now needs that guy.
And
especially the teams that are in the older stage. Like exactly how you're saying, they're already looking for somebody to change a game. Like, you know how obviously Phoenix brought in Durant, like, you know, picking that third person into a team that's going to just elevate that
Or do you
entire
focus
team.
on the role players? But the role players for the Lakers aren't cheap either.
I'm more of the role player kind of guy because we've seen now superstar teams or super teams nowadays. They're weird super teams. It's teams that are kind of joining up and they have really weird styles
They have no
of play.
depth, though.
They have
no depth. One injury in their front.
One injury, now you're back to your two originally you had. So it doesn't matter if you brought somebody in. Now only two stars are playing all the time and you got no depth.
So
And look at Denver's depth.
Look at
compared to
they have
else.
they have two superstars. They have the best player in the world. So whatever that is for him, for Jokic, whatever you want to call that, a superstar. And then you've got Murray, who is showing everybody he's not just a bubble Murray anymore, right? He is Jamal motherfucking Murray, man.
He can score.
And then Michael Porter Jr. is taking a huge step. He's no longer just a pure scorer. When you see that guy like run around, you're like, this guy's like 6'10".
Yeah.
And he moves around like he's like a poor man's Durant, which is, you know, it sounds like an insult.
Yeah.
But Durant is one of like the 15, 20 greatest players of all time.
True.
No matter how much people hate him.
No,
I know
he's
there's
up
some,
there,
right?
100%
But
he's
at the
up
same
there.
time with Michael Porter Jr., he gives him, he's trying on defense.
Yeah.
Like, he blocks guys sometimes. I've seen him make defensive plays.
Yeah.
KCP, they have another player, you know, that going back to the Westbrook trade, how badly they got fucked over on that.
KCP,
right?
I miss that
So,
guy.
dude, he was the perfect player.
I missed that guy on the 3-point line. You gave it to him. It was like a 40% chance that
And he plays
which
defense.
is a high
And he plays
3-point
defense
percentage.
underneath, dude. He played for the Lakers with a fucking ankle monitor on his ankle. Think about that.
Fuck, man.
That dude
That
was
was one
playing
of
with
my
an ankle
favorite players.
monitor. So
Guy's a gangster, man.
he is a gangster, but
He's a
that
gangster
would-
playing ball at the top level.
and then
basically.
but he's like, he figured his shit out. He's
Yeah.
become one of the best
And he's got a chance
role players
to
in
get
the
it
league,
again.
right? And then you
Go
got Gordon.
back.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have
He's
Gordon
got
on
what,
top
one
of that.
under him?
I think it was the Lakers run, yeah.
Just that one, right? But now you got a chance to go for your second one.
Well, he's in his second NBA final if you
Fuck,
count that,
it was
right?
his Second one, man.
The count. Gordon
Props to him.
made it to his final. Like Gordon's
Such
become
a
the
good
perfect
team.
role player, right? He shoots enough threes. You gotta like, he can be playable. Like he'll have his games where he doesn't shoot well at 3-point line, but at the end of the year, he shoots enough threes and he makes enough of them to stay on the court, and then he brings everything else. The
And
defense.
he's a presence. And
The
just,
defense-
even when he's on the like out, like not even substituted out, he'll bring guys in. Like they were showing Murray run up to him, and then he says like some shit to him, and then he runs back in. He's a guy that's like becoming the vet of the team, like being like, "Yo, okay, here I'm gonna be a captain. I'm just gonna keep like talking to everybody, pumping everybody up." Like you need somebody on the team that's just checking on everybody.
Perfect
basically.
role player.
Really good role
And
player.
like, and what, you know, it sounds like an insult saying role player,
Yeah.
but these guys,
No,
you
you
need
need
role
those.
players. You've got your stars, you have
That's
your
how you win
superstar.
championships.
All the best teams had one of the best players in the league, whoever that would have been in. A lot of times it was LeBron,
yeah.
right? Or Curry. So LeBron, they won what, eight titles in the last
Jordan,
like 18
even it was like the guys that you have around you too.
Huge, and LeBron
It all matters.
When LeBron finally teamed up with the superstars, and then they added some role players on top of that,
Yeah.
that's when he started winning titles. Right? He can do it by himself.
Role
Even look
players
at
are
guys
huge.
like Luca and all these other superstars that, like, even the Suns, for example,
Yeah.
they've got their superstars, but they have no depth around them.
No.
And in the playoffs, you can't have one guy, you know, play 40 plus minutes, give you 40 plus points, and you lose by 10.
Only some teams learned that formula, like how Bulls started that really with like getting Stockton, Steve Kerr, those kind of guys that were just, man, they took those shots that won them championships also.
Huge shots,
like
right?
shots that won
Look
them
at the Lakers. They got their Lonnie Walker moment. You know, similar
Yeah.
shit. They got the role players step up at crucial times. Because some games you're not going to have it, and you need these other guys to do it.
And the role players are usually the most, like, basically in shape in that moment of that game. Like, they're ready to go because they haven't played 40 minutes, say. They've only played about 17 to, like, maybe they'll give them 25, maybe a little bit more than that. But in that time, you have to make a presence. And it known that, yo, when this guy's out on the floor, he might hit a three or he might hit the paint. You're like, holy shit, this guy's actually scoring like 50. Like, they had that stat they had on D-Lo. So on D'Angelo, if he didn't score more than 15, actually, it wasn't even 15, you have to score 16 or more.
Yeah.
They won every single game. But if he hit under 16, it was a loss.
That was a different man.
That's huge. Like, he's having to score 16. Who would you want rather? Like, obviously, that's a place that they can spot in somebody who can get that 16 per game. If you can get that 16, it's like, that helps so much.
The problem with D'Lo is that he's so inconsistent. He gets you, but a few of those games he was 20 plus.
Yeah.
And other games, he's below 10.
Yeah. He did that ED effect. Like,
Right,
back and forth. Which one's going to show up? Which one's not going to show up?
And you can't have that when you come into the playoffs. Like,
Not
you can
playoffs.
can beat Memphis, who was in complete disarray in that series with all the John Morant shit.
Yeah.
You can beat a Warriors team who weren't themselves all year. But when you come up with a real team like the Denver Nuggets, they systematically destroyed. And the thing is, the Lakers didn't get blown out in a single game. No. They were in every game.
No.
But the Nuggets were good at making the right plays at the right time. And they got a little lucky a few times on top of that, too.
Well, the thing is, like, their start was so good the first quarter because they're all young guys. Like, they're pushing transition pace. Like, their pace is, like, they're the top team in pace in the league. Compared to a Lakers one, they're not known for pace. They're for bringing the ball up. The point guard is going to actually stop.
Yeah.
He's going to set up a play. Where these guys are throwing passes where the play's already been set up in the defensive zone, that you already have to hit your cuts like a football player, basically, and hit those cuts and get passes coming in from, like, Jokic. Like, he's lobbing bombs to people, so you have to be ready to play. And Lakers' biggest thing was, they couldn't get back, so the points were getting scored similar to them.
Yep.
But then on the other side, if they went on a tiny slip of offense, it was just so many points scored by Denver at that moment. So now they've already caught back up to you because look at how many times Lakers were leading. Like, it looked like it was going to be 10 plus points. You're like, yo, this is a Lakers win. Usually that is when they were like over 10 points to 12 points. Like, LeBron shuts those ones down, but you can't have him do it by himself. Like, other guys just have to kind of score too. Hopefully they figure something out.
Well,
it's gonna be a big off season.
It's gonna be a big off season.
Really
so
big off season.
I think we've done enough Lakers talk. So I think we should probably switch over to the other series that everyone's also been talking about. The beloved.
I think everybody's only been talking about one team in person in that series.
Well,
they've just taken over. Jimmy Buckets.
Jimmy Buckets.
He's taken over that whole entire series basically himself. Like, that's crazy.
He is Michael Jordan's son. Did you see the picture without the where they shaved his head?
Yeah,
and it was like weird. Identical those two guys.
That looks so trippy. Because they showed recently the guy that plays for Lakers. He's got the same jawline as Kobe Bryant.
Which guy?
They shut his eyes off. But from nose to the chin, it looks like Kobe talking. It's one of the young guys, the rookies that's sitting on the bench. Not Pippen, the other one.
Oh.
Or is it Pippen or the other one? He's got blondish kind of hair. He looks
I don't. Young. I can't. I know the
And
Pippen
they
guy.
showed it from here down, and it's so trippy. Like, his dad has to be Kobe.
That's fucked up.
It's so fucked up.
Again, we're going back to Lakers talk.
Heat. So Jimmy Buckets has been scoring and taking over, and they were in the same boat as Lakers, basically, but they obviously clawed back in like a hostile environment, which is hard to do. Like, it's not your home court, and you're having to kind of go against the crowd. You're hoping to go back to racist Boston and get that crowd, back into it against all these guys that are gonna have to come into there. It's the most racist.
It is.
It's all of the U.S.
It's true.
In the entire U.S., it's the one place God I hate to go. And it's understandable. Like, that's some BS.
Their own players even called out for it. But, let's go back to the Jimmy Butler thing. He is, other than Jokic, I would say, and probably the second best player in the playoffs. Other maybe you can
100%.
I wouldn't even put him over Murray. Sorry, Murray's been phenomenal, but Jimmy Butler and Jokic. I think.
But if you had to choose one guy from each team, I'd say him for sure from that, and then it's Jokic for Denver.
I think Jokic has turned it on in this series, where Butler did is much better in the earlier series. All of it, but Jokic now had that series where you're like...
He took off.
He took off.
But even last one, he had to score more.
Which one?
The one they just played. He actually had...
Lakers,
before even. The series before, he had to score 30 plus a game.
Yeah.
Man, you're playing the Suns. Like, you're not playing an offense that's not going to score. So he had to score himself 30 plus, but then Murray was backing up at 30 himself. He had almost 60 points from two guys, where against Lakers, his offense might have gone down. But the defensive plays he was making overall,
Jokic was killing in offense too, and defense. Yeah. And now you've got him. For him, he's probably happy that the Celtics won, just because now those guys have to play each other and have another game for them. No matter what happens.
You have to rest after playing Lakers, because they were close matches that your body still went through shit to get to where you got to.
Yeah.
You sweeped. Understandable, but that doesn't mean that your body went through hell trying to play against some of the best players.
Well, now they have until the June 1st off, no matter what happens. So... We'll see what happens with what do you call it? The Heat game. Well, they're playing tomorrow, right?
They're
Thursday.
playing tomorrow. What's your like? Who you think?
Well, I think Celtics take it.
What are you thinking
I
about
think
the score here? Is it going to be a blowout like this one, or do you think it'll be a much closer game?
I think it's going to be a closer game, but I think Celtics pull it off.
I'm thinking Miami.
I think Miami finishes in Game 6.
I think Jimmy guys are gonna come in Boston and shut that. Telling you that racist crowd down, man.
I mean, they haven't been a good team. I think
and they've won in Boston, which in Boston's dude, the crowd is gonna hate these guys. Think of it, you're almost coming into like you know how Europe soccer is. Like it gets violent.
Yeah.
Like you're almost at that point where Boston's probably one of the most violent states in the U.S. There's that fan base you don't want to really fuck with. Like you better know how to fight.
It's gonna be a rowdy atmosphere, but
you better know how to fight if you're in a Boston crowd with a fucking jersey of the Heat on.
Well,
you gotta be very careful. Like there, you do not wear. You just wear regular civilian clothes.
But the thing with the Heat though is that they can talk their shit over the Celtics because they have the LeBron years to be like, yo, we beat you guys with LeBron. Remember all the Celtics won 1 title, LeBron guys won 2.
And they're like, bro, do you remember when we made it to the finals? Yeah, bubble year, it happened. Look at us, we're actually going there.
And Lakers they beat them that year too, right?
Lakers should have been back there to show that the bubble was entirely true. That
but still the final four same teams though,
those 4 teams are happy obviously because they got to prove something. Those 4 teams we're just gonna have a rematch basically of that. It's like a fight, right?
Yep.
You're getting a rematch with all the same teams in the Western Conference. You're like, we've done all the bullshit of winning the 2 series before that, which is hell.
Yeah.
And now we sit here and we all 4 get to fight for the title again, which is, you're kind of happy that team goes on, and it wasn't like, imagine Lakers seeing Golden State pass them, or even Denver seeing Golden State pass them. You're kind of like, yo, these rivalries we can start to begin, because we need some rivalries in the league right now.
Oh, 100%. Well, the Celtics Heat one has been one of the ones that have been going for almost like, what? When did those guys first start playing?
Fuck, man, forever. Since Tatum's been there.
No, before that. You start off with the LeBron years.
Oh, them, yeah. But like
because remember, they obviously there was a couple years where the Heat didn't do as well, and Celtics were kind of off too. But other than that, though,
for like I think 4 years until Bron came in, 5 years. They were like not.
That was
they were like always getting kicked out of the first round, not even making playoffs, and then he comes in, and then they obviously bring in Bosch at the same time, which is kind of like.
But Miami had won a title without LeBron.
But that was like fucking like early on in Wade's career. Then 5-6 years straight they couldn't do anything. It was 5 years they couldn't do anything.
So did Wade win in his second year?
I think his second year. He was like the killer of the league at that time. Won the title. Like they did it right. Like he's fucking a beast. And then they just had a bad time. He didn't have like the guys around him to really like take.
He was injured a lot too.
He was injured and they didn't have anybody.
I'm just gonna fucking my hamstring. Charlie or like right in there. It's gonna be on camera too.
Yeah, you stretching?
That was just a.
Is the one where it locks?
Oh, it locked there.
Those are the worst. I had calf locks playing ball.
Oh no, that was just. I haven't had this in so long. That was just weird.
Man, let's start training again, dude.
Yeah, that part.
Like training, where we go back to that, even outdoor workouts in my backyard and stuff. And we like just do stretch workouts where it's light weights.
Yeah.
But we're doing stretches of shit we're gonna do, man. Playing baseball. We'll do baseball kind of workouts, golf kind of workouts. The shit we do, we should be able to do perfectly. Whenever we golf now, we should be walking. It's actually an exercise day. We're going there, actually, it's leg day.
Yeah.
It's just pure legs. Sometimes you can actually fucking run, do some dumb shit out there, lose the extra calories if you want. Or you're like, yo, I'm just gonna get there and I'm gonna walk it. I'm gonna get like 10 to 15,000 steps easily
How much watch give you that day?
Fuck, I haven't even counted that one. That one was like past my, like I have mine at like 9,000 steps I have to do every day.
Damn.
So even at home, I have to like pace or go on the treadmill. Like I have to hit my 9,000 steps. Like it's crazy.
I just take my computer and walk around the house when I have to have meetings and shit, just so I can move.
Steps, man. Steps matter. It's workout.
Let's go back to.
And so I think just the futures. I think I just want to touch on like everybody's obviously watching these series, watching the young guys kind of take form. A lot of old guys slowly getting pushed out because they're starting to switch a lot of teams. Things are happening. The future of the NBA. Mr. Victor. Wemby basically coming into the league, the best prospect they've ever seen.
That's high.
Putting a little bit more pressure than they need to on a guy. Let a guy play. Headlines can wait, but the media, they love pushing a narrative and they start fucking early. That's the thing. People forget when media started on a guy like, say, LeBron. It started at such a young age that you have to make it through that with media on you and still come out of that like good.
I think Wemby did a good job of it. Though.
He did so
they
far.
Did like he seems like a smart guy.
Yeah.
He knows how good he is and how good he can be.
He gives me that Joker vibe of like he doesn't need to say much. He's kind of keeping it in, and I think he's only gonna let out more as his game gets better. Like, you don't want to just let it out and be like, "Hey, I'm gonna win a title right away." He's just saying, "I want to start winning titles."
I can't wait.
So you're looking to work.
I can't wait to see what kind of player he's in the NBA.
I think he needs to 110% gain weight, major weight.
I don't know if he necessarily needs to. My personal opinion, because everybody said the same.
So light.
Everyone said the same thing about KD.
But KD weighs way more than.
How much is Victor weigh?
KD's even.
How much did KD weigh when he came into the league, though? How much he weighs now? He added weight, but KD's never been a big guy, though. Like KD is what, like 200 and something pounds?
215.
215. His rookie year, that was his weight. And then what's Victor right now?
Oh, badly.
I'm curious now. What's Victor Wemby?
Come on, why can't they make it easy?
No,
as
right
the other
there,
one?
yeah. I know.
230.
He's heavier than. See, I told you. He's
8.
Dude, 7'5". He's 7. His wingspan is 8 feet.
8 feet. That's
but he's
crazy.
7'5" is his actual height, though. He's heavier than. The thing with him is, though, he's such
These
a
lengthy guys.
He's 7'5".
Either you could be a Kareem or your body's gonna break down.
Well, that's the thing is, though. Well, like it depends on what position you put him at,
that's
too,
true,
right?
That's true.
Like
too.
they don't. That's the thing.
I don't think he would need to play a center.
He could play center though. I think he's a better version of Giannis.
But center takes a lot of body too. Like
But
you're gonna take a lot of damage overall too.
Well, that's the thing is that it's so. That's why, like, first of all, getting back to just your earlier point, I think he's worth the hype.
Yeah,
but I don't.
Worth
think,
the hype right now.
But no offense, I wouldn't put him over LeBron because what LeBron has done has probably been like. He's backed up and exceeded anything that anybody NBA expected of him.
But I think everybody's like hoping, like that's who we're all waiting for. Like it doesn't matter who you're a fan of. You could be a fan of Jordan, Kobe, LeBron, all of them, a few of them.
Right.
We're waiting for the next generation. It started with even before fucking Jordan, Magic Johnson put the NBA back on the map. He made the NBA a culture. And if you watch the Lake Show, it shows you like how it became a culture. Like being an NBA player, like the status it can bring. Then comes in Larry Bird. Look at Larry Bird. Like it's not like Jordan ever beat him. Like he was one of the best players ever.
He just brings the profile.
He's a guy that won titles too. Like it's crazy that him and Magic were fighting for that stuff. That there was that kind of team battle.
Yeah.
Where Jordan at that time was just like running shit. Like running his shit, and then comes in Kobe. He's like that next, like basically a carbon copy of Jordan, basically.
I would like the thing with Kobe is that like they had their 3 years with Shaq, and they made the finals in the 4th year before it all imploded, and then but they had those like few. They had those years. Too. Remember, Kobe requested a trade. Yeah. The team sucked. And when the Memphis Grizzlies got Marcus All at the end, so it wasn't like a complete shit trade. But finally in later, because everyone was like, can Kobe do it without Shaq, right? That was the narrative back then.
Hell yeah.
But at the same time, LeBron was just kind of coming into his career. You still had Tim Duncan, who got 5 titles too. He just didn't win. He won them every few years. And at the end of the year, he had a...
They weren't like a dominant all at once, you're right.
Yeah,
they spread it out.
And in the end, those two guys combined is 10 years. Well, they also lost. They both made like... Every year, you with Duncan healthy, you were guaranteed for 50 wins. A playoff trip to usually the second round at worst. And that's the same thing with LeBron on a bigger level is that if you have a healthy LeBron on your team, you're guaranteed to, instead of getting the 55 plus wins, you're guaranteed for like 45 plus wins.
Yeah.
And in a lot of cases when he was in his prime, it was 50 plus wins anyways. And then a guaranteed trip to the finals.
That's I like those dynasties more where like somebody's won like, 2-3 plus championships. And they did it like on a team in different years. Like they had their downs, but they came back from the down rather than a team just like winning and it's done. This one's like it's showing this arc. So you're like, yo, this guy's talented. Like they lost or he got injured that year. They went down, then they came back and won a title. Okay, then they're gone again. 2 years later, they win a title. You're like,
Right.
yo, this is so consistent. Like, they had the bad years because guys are getting injured. You could tell when Ginobili, Parker, all these guys are taking hits for him.
But they got that
and then
Kawhi.
he got hits. But yeah, and then the Kawhi Leonard, you
Kawhi
bring in
Leonard,
a young
man.
guy that's like one of the most dominant guys with the ball in his hand, at least.
Well, he
size
won.
of like 2 basketballs in one hand, basically. Like, that guy's gonna be able to control the ball.
Well, the year that they
And he's
won,
good passing too.
who got MVP of the finals the year that they won?
Yeah.
Kawhi.
That's crazy.
Right? That's why the legend of Kawhi.
And the MVP in
He just couldn't stay healthy.
Toronto, right?
Yep.
That
was
one too. So he got his second one.
He got 2. And not only in the first one, he was what, 24, and he was playing against LeBron in his prime, and he was the MVP over him.
Yeah.
Right? So that's crazy. Then Kawhi, then he leads Toronto. When you think about it, like, yeah, you had Siakam and Lowry and a really good team, but he was the guy.
He was.
All the rest of them were stars. He didn't have a superstar with him. He was the fucking superstar.
He was the superstar.
And he was coming back after all the years people doubted him, and then he became, like, the
superstar and comes
title.
over and takes Canada and gives them a championship. And he's like,
Thank
hey,
you.
he was on a very good Spurs team also, but he came into Toronto, and it's not like he just, like, nobody can ever say he is the man, but it's not like he won that title himself. It was because he was there, it helped everybody get elevated.
Here's how bad it
elevated
was.
everybody else.
Here's how bad it was for Toronto before Kawhi came in for that year. Lakers. Toronto had all this success, right? But they were known as LeBronto.
Yeah.
Before Kawhi came along, because they would fuck up in the playoffs every year. They wouldn't get out of the second round.
They just couldn't get past nobody in the East, man.
As soon as Kawhi comes in, that 1 year, they make it to the fucking NBA Finals, and they win against prime Golden State, who, yes, had their own injuries, but part of being a good team is you have to be able to stay healthy. Every fucking year, players get hurt. It's just life.
And the crazy thing is, the 1 year LeBron leaves. So you get to pass that Eastern Conference Finals and jump into a final, because if LeBron was still on the East, that it wasn't many tough teams. Because look, they didn't have a Kawhi or anything.
But the thing is that LeBron, after he left for Lakers, was it the first year he left? Was it they won the first year he left with them? He was injured, so LeBron would have been injured in the East anyways.
2019 he left.
Yeah.
Or 2018 was his last year he played for Cleveland. And then 2019 he was in Lakers while Toronto won.
And then he hurt himself, though, so he wouldn't have been in the playoffs anyways.
He hurt himself that year.
And then the next year he stays healthy enough, but they got the 5-month break, which everybody got.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, like, it helped out those guys because LeBron is older. He's still like 34 at the time. Got his second title.
No, he's 30.
Yeah.
35.
Was he 35?
35 or 36. So he's 38
He's turning
now.
39 this year, right?
Yeah. So he's turning 39.
So
So
I think
he's
he's
36.
like 34 or 35 around that
2020,
time.
right?
Yeah, 2020. So 20. Was
3
he
years
36?
ago. 30.
He was 35. Or was
35 to 36.
somewhere in that
there.
range.
He probably still was going to turn 36.
But that 5-month break for him and KD was huge because it allowed them to rest their bodies.
Yeah.
Then I think the next year is when the Lakers fucking panicked. And they went out. They ended up one bad year, and they gave up a lot of guys. But LeBron, again, he was healthy, so 2 out of 3. He was injured the last 2 seasons, pretty much. So out of he's had 2 healthy seasons out of this year. You could say he was healthy, or you could say he was injured, but he was injured for a lot of the year too.
He was, but man, that team where you already had fucking Ingram, D'Lo, who was the other guy?
I don't think it would have worked.
No, but the team, like that, it was such a good fucking
They wouldn't play defense. They still can't.
Yeah.
No offense. They would have been a great offensive team, but Randall's not a good defensive player. Remember we were talking about him in the Miami series?
But imagine, like think of those guys right now, though. Think of a Randall, how he leads New York, basically. And then it's Ingram basically leads the team. They're like guys that are like, they became leaders. So I think they still needed a little bit more time to kind of get into their own. Lakers just like,
but that's the LeBron model, though.
Bring in these guys.
Remember what I said? Year 1, you figure out who you have, who you're going to keep.
That's true.
Year 2, you
Second
start
year,
trading
just fix
guys,
it.
and that's what happened. Year 1, but LeBron got hurt. And then they traded, year 2 is when they traded Ingram.
That championship team, they needed to run it back.
Year 3 is when they won their title after the trade, right?
No, second year they won it. He came in there 2019. Then in 2020 they brought in AD first year. Remember?
They were gonna make the trade at the trade deadline.
AD's first year.
And then they didn't make the trade at the trade deadline. Then they made the same deal in the offseason. Remember year 2, they started trading guys?
Yeah.
They won the title
That's when
year
they got
2.
AD.
AD got hit.
He just came in his first year and fit into. They plug and played players. It was fucking crazy. They brought in the right guys at the right roles, like a Rondo, man, a guy that's still like he's got championships from another dynasty, man, and he's coming into.
I wouldn't call the Celtics the dynasty though.
It was just they were dominant as fuck at that time.
You can't call one title team a dynasty.
Yeah, one, but like I'm saying, from a dynasty team, a Boston Celtics team.
For sure, I'll give you
that. They
that.
have all like it's Lakers and them as the dynasty teams probably overall. They have a lot of the championships between those two teams. So coming from that organization and winning, like he's from a place where like they got like pieces because they won more without him though. No,
What do you mean?
without Rondo only won one there, right?
With Celtics?
With what's his name?
Lakers? With LeBron?
No, with
Celtics. Yeah, they only won the one
They
in the
all won
rookie year.
one, right?
That was a rookie year.
And then those guys didn't win another one, right?
No, they made the finals they beat the Lakers, and then they lost to them the following year. And then KG got hurt, and then they just weren't the same team after that, and then he kind of got bounced around after a few years. He got traded here and there. I remember he was in New Orleans at one point.
Yeah.
I forgot he played some other teams as well. Obviously, he played for the Lakers too. He got bounced around too.
For NBA, freaking a lot of these guys that like kind of say a rumor, but they're like usually like very high on the percentage. So one of the things for the NBA right now is that they're talking about obviously the expansion team, and obviously the new revenue that's definitely going to bring right away.
Oh fuck yeah, they'll bring.
But their one issue right now is that either they can do the talk is that they do a one expansion team, which would fuck shit up.
It wouldn't work.
So what they have right now is two of the main cities that are pushed to the front are Austin and Vegas. They'd be perfect cities, because like a lot of sports have jumped into Austin too now. Like Formula
But
F1
wouldn't
has one of
Austin
theirs.
be so close to San Antonio though?
It is, but it's like they have now like Austin usually
Why not
whatever events
Seattle?
they throw. It's the market wise right now.
But
It's just
Seattle's
the
a bigger market though than.
the rise of Austin right now, dude. Texas,
Yeah.
is like the next metropolitan city that's going to be
But
created,
Seattle's
like a
like-
Houston, San Antonio. You know how they're like metropolitan
Yeah,
almost.
I get
it's
that.
the next metropolitan city.
But Seattle's like one of the top 10 biggest media markets in the entire.
It is a media market, but population wise and how much they have like fan base, like their fan base for like NFL isn't the craziest fan base.
No.
You can get a last minute ticket to get into a freaking NFL game. Like it's not like it's going to be a
It's not
problem.
them. But at the same time though, they've never like for them to be able to have.
Because you want a team right now in cities that are growing. You remember when you threw out the stat of Vegas obviously having 10 of the biggest events ever? And look at they have F1, which is like already bringing in just millions of dollars. So what happened with F1 is they never used to do the States. The only ones in the States are in Austin, Texas. So they'd come down to Austin, Texas, ride out their one in F1 Formula. They started making money. They're like, you know what, we're going to add Miami. They try Miami, fucking make some crazy money. It's their highest revenue out of all the European places they do it, or in the Emirates.
Damn.
So they're like, okay, fuck, like, can we... Vegas comes in, steals that. They're like, hey, guess what? We'll let you guys do a night race, and we'll shut down the fucking strip. Their highest revenue place for the entire state. They're willing to shut down for the strip, but the fucked up thing is,
Yeah, I
to even
remember
get a
that.
hotel room right now, like, say you want a
have to
room
get it on the
that
street,
has
is
a
it?
view of the track, because a lot of the strip now, if you get a good room,
Yeah.
there's certain rooms, you can get a shitty room, but if it's facing the strip,
Yes.
you got a view of the track. So you actually have like a very good spot that when you get a room, you can actually go on like Marketplace or something,
Yeah.
sell that room to somebody and be like, yo, for 5 Gs, like you're going to get this view basically.
That's what like Vicky did when he went to Monaco kind of thing, right? He had the same kind of view for all
He
that shit,
partnered
too.
up with like a guy that they met. Like it's all rich people in Monaco, right? So this guy, you know Vic Rohn too, right? Like he's got that personality. He could become friends with people.
That's sick,
So he
though.
became friends with some guys from their hotel, and they just went together. And
yeah.
like you're sitting at the pinnacle of F1,
That's
which
awesome.
makes this tiny place. That's all their money comes from.
Just going back to Austin thing too, like San Antonio Spurs are already playing games in Austin though.
They play in Austin?
They're playing some games in Austin. They're regular season and preseason games.
That's weird.
No, they're expanding to that target market.
Oh, they're gonna move there then?
Dude, now and not move there, but because San Antonio, like you're saying, Austin is growing. They have an actual G League team in Austin too.
Yeah.
The Spurs G League team is in Austin, so that's part of their market. So that's why I don't think they moved there.
But that market is going to outgrow a G League. It's going to be bigger than San Antonio.
But the thing with that is the NBA is probably hoping that all those people in Austin are going to become Spurs fans because now they got Wemby as well. So I think I personally think it would be sick for Seattle to have a team.
It could be set up that we give the Spurs that, and like now that's a huge market.
Well, the thing is, who knows what's going to happen with them? They can move to Austin themselves.
Yeah,
right. I'm just saying for the NBA, I think it makes less sense because San Antonio is so close to them, and they already have Houston. Houston. They've got Dallas. They got San Antonio. They'd have 4 teams in Texas. Why not put one of those teams in Seattle, and then you have the Seattle-Portland rivalry? You'd have all the fans.
If they go non-money way, like if they're not thinking of the highest revenue, Seattle would make sense. Like it's going to be a lower revenue, but you are going to get a West Coast market. So you do have another West Coast one, but now you still need something in the East. Like now you can't do Vegas though. So Vegas isn't. They're not going to throw.
You can move some teams around though.
But that's what they don't want to do. They don't want to do that shift. They want one jumping in the East, one jumping in the West.
I just don't think it.
And Vegas is hot and
but Texas is a West team anyway, so they wouldn't matter.
They could throw them on the East though.
Texas is all West Coast though.
So Austin's on the farthest side of Texas to the basically.
But
the East
why
Coast.
would you have all 3 other teams from Texas are in the Western Conference? They wouldn't just throw one team from there in the Eastern Conference. All those areas.
But you know where Texas is situated.
I understand
in the
where
States.
Texas is, but I'm saying
split in half. Texas, so in the middle of the states.
Yeah,
Texas is at the bottom, but it takes over a spot that like all the other ones, all the other cities, are in West Texas.
I understand.
East Texas they would only have one team. It'd be Austin. Like even San Antonio.
I don't think they would do it. I think they'd have to. I think they would actually literally move a team. And I was trying to look at which teams.
But they'll never give 2 to the West. It's not on the table right now.
I could see them doing it though, because Vegas. It depends on who pays the money though too. Because to get a franchise, you're going to have to have. I mean, you're probably paying at least a $500 million expansion fee. It might even be $1 billion now.
Well, Elon Musk is putting money behind it now. He's in Austin.
But what about if you go? What's the other guy what's the billionaire who bid for the Commanders? But what's his name?
The one that got it?
What's the Amazon guy?
Bezos.
Yeah.
They didn't get it
because he had the highest bid.
He did. They didn't accept.
So if you're Bezos, if you're also like, okay, we couldn't get an NFL. If you're the NBA, we'll give, you know how much money he would pay? Because if he's paying $6 billion for an NFL team, and the latest team in the NBA just got sold for whatever, $2 billion, he can easily afford an NBA team and give them the money that they want.
So he controls the internet, like Amazon Web Services.
They'd have so much built in.
They control all internet. So say if you were build a website, which why you don't want to sell to a guy like him. Because say you're a team and you use computers and you put shit up.
Yeah.
Say your team's website, your government of your town's website, it's all on Amazon Web Services. They own most of the internet, like the provider. So if he wanted, he could go into people's computers, look at everybody's stats, have a team, analyze that, and take over a sports.
He could, but also at the end of the day, if NBA makes enough money, they will do what's going to make them a lot of money, right?
But they went the right way. They chose the right group.
So, but here's the other thing that we're saying: why they wouldn't move teams around, et cetera, et cetera. What they could do is they can move it like the NFL, where you have, instead of having 5-team divisions, you have 4-team divisions now. Yeah. So you start breaking off other teams, and for some teams that might make sense. For example, like Minnesota to be with Chicago and like travel and all the other shit can move, right? Because if you have 30, like look at, that's what I was saying with even for going to the NHL. For the NHL, I honestly believe Gary Bettman needs to get his head out of his ass and go to 4-team divisions like the NFL. Yeah. Every division winner makes the playoffs. And then you get the you got the wild cards, right?
Yeah, you still have wild cards.
So the way then the divisional games matter because there's only 3 other teams you're fighting against, right? Yeah. If you're playing one other team for a division, that's pretty big fucking games. Yeah. Now you have 7 other teams you're playing for the division. You have 3 teams that are super important, and then you would still be able to play all the other teams and do all the other thing. You'd reduce travel. Some teams still get dicked. I mean, Seattle, Vancouver, all these West Coast teams. They just travel more in general. No matter how much you try to make it equal, they're just going to travel more at the end of the day.
That's why a lot of people that like to travel now, they're moving to the East. So they're moving to places like Texas because it's already that far east. They're moving to places like Toronto, New Jersey, New York because it's to go to the rest of the world. you're so much closer. We're the farthest to go to anywhere in the world, basically.
You know how we're saying it's split up into Texas? Texas because they have its own conference if you put a team in Austin. But I think Vegas is gonna get one no matter what.
They're getting it.
And LeBron's even interested, etc. We'll see what happens.
Brady
with all
guys,
this
all
shit, right?
the top guys.
It's growing.
It's growing. Another thing I was gonna bring up that's growing is Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy are starting their own league.
What?
So it's like a league that's going to be...
Like what?
They're getting funding to basically just start a league where players are going to be like... They're going to try to groom players. They're going to find players at a young age that are really good. And then like help them, assist them. And then it's going to be a tour that they could play on to get better.
Isn't that what the amateur tour is? Does amateur not have a tour?
So there's a college tour. And then from the college tour, you go to another tour. I forget what the other one is.
Remember we used to play it when we used to play
it's in the game. It's in the video game. So you have to go through that tour. And once you're like decent enough, you can get sponsored to play on the PGA. So you have to start winning tournaments in that tour.
So can you not come straight out of college and go into like...
you can. If you like are willing to go pro right away and then like try out for something, like some tournaments have tryouts, like different courses, like you're gonna have to travel to that course, go to the tryout, and if you win that course, you're in that tournament.
Which probably not a lot of like younger guys necessarily do. Usually guys are in the early 20s.
Mid-range guys, like what happened in the PGA right now basically is, it's a major. So the PGA does not control the major. It's a different entity. Live guys are allowed to run free and wild, butt naked if they want. They're allowed to be here and do whatever the fuck they want. And they're there. And they're some of the top players right now in the league. And the winner of that is one of the best guys in Live Golf. So right when it ends, the PGA basically, and the tournament ends and Brooks Koepka wins it, like they did not want to show him basically just because he's Live. So you're promoting a guy on your PGA, your channel where you were against him so much. Now, yes, people know they made amends of it, but they still don't want to showcase that too much. So a guy that was like one of the locals of that golf course that played there, he actually won and got into the tournament.
The Michael Blokic?
Yeah, so when he got into the tournament, he started playing, shot like just even. Everyday evens, and even on this tournament was really fucking good. Like you didn't have to shoot in the negatives almost. Even par was really good. Like you did a really good job that day. And on the last day, he's playing with Rory McIlroy, and he puts a hole in one. And it doesn't just like hit the grass or green and goes in. It just slammed like swish right into the thing. And Rory's standing there like laughing his ass off, high fiving him. And this guy's like, I couldn't believe I was high fiving Rory McIlroy. And because he finished in the place he did, the next tournament he got sponsored for that one. So right away, like that next year's one, the exact same major, he's allowed to play.
Damn.
And then the next PGA tournament, they called him and they're like, hey, we want to sponsor you as one of the sponsorships to play on the next PGA one. So he gets another opportunity. He won about 250 grand from that one.
Do you know how much they, what did he use for a club? Was that a 7-iron or an 8-iron?
For which one?
The one where he got the
I can't remember. It was a par 3 and it was just a perfect shot.
The PGA offered him $50,000 for that one club so they could put it in their Pro PGA Hall of Fame.
Look how much the PGA had to showcase that they didn't want to show Brooks Koepka. People know so much about this guy, but they're not like, hey, these Live guys are good.
But do you blame them though?
No, I don't blame them, but like, if you guys are going to make up and talk about golf, you can't now. You used to talk about the majors like crazy because they matter. A major on your title fucking matters. And 100%. Nowadays, it's the hardest thing to get people like, oh, Tiger Woods never got to pass Jack Nicklaus. Nicklaus played in an era where in his early years, people fucking sucked. Like golf was known as only a rich man sport. So you had to pay like $10,000 back in the day to join a tournament was a lot of money.
Right.
So you had to be a rich white person to be like, yo, I'm willing to spend 10 G's to go play a tournament in like the fucking 60s and 70s. So it was easier to win, right? Now you're playing against guys that like they're bred. As a kid, they've been playing golf.
Yep.
They're getting coached. All this stuff that's going on too.
That's so true.
The league that they're starting right now.
Yeah.
The sponsorships they've gotten are crazy. They've gotten basically the number one people you can think of, like the Brady's, DJ Khaled. Like Khaled right now only golfs. If you follow his Instagram and look at his shit, he only golfs. He's like, let's go golfing. You know his next like slogan?
Him on a golf course.
He just golfs. He's got the sickest drive, dude, and the sickest putting. And he shows his entire holes. Like he's actually playing. Like you see him do the drive. They got the thing showing, where his ball's going.
When you said you were gonna say, like sickest this, I was honestly thinking you'd say sickest golf cart. When it comes to DJ Khaled.
That I think he just rides any golf cart, but his golf game, because he wears Drake's golf line. So you've heard of Drake's golf line, right? So he has his own golf line. So it's only made for golfers, basically. It's all golf attire, and like Drake sells it.
Damn.
And this guy rocks all his shit. Like he rocks all Drake because they're buddies. So every time he's playing, he's promoting his brand, and it's all golf related stuff. And it's all kind of stuff a little bit flashier, a little bit nicer. You could tell it's a little bit more expensive too, right?
Yeah.
And this guy rocks it every day. He gets up at like 5 a.m. and then in Florida, like it's a rainy day. He's like, man, he's like, I'm ready for this. He's like, I don't even care if it's rainy. He's like, I'm going today.
DJ Khaled, man. Putting in
golf,
the work.
dude. Look at that. If a guy like him can golf, man, there's hope for guys like Johnny. Yo, Johnny, shout out, brother. Yo, there's hope. There's hope, man.
Oh, shots fired.
No, man, there's hope. Anybody thinking that they're having a bad time, you can look at a guy like DJ Khaled and be like, yo, if he could do it, I think I could.
But a lot of guys, I have other people that were shooting in their 90s and now they're shooting in their like low 80s, and sometimes they get in their 70s depending on the courses and stuff too, right? So, but it's funner though. It's fun to have more people to golf with now.
Way better. It's way better to be able to play
different areas too. Like people don't always live like here in Abbotsford and whatever too. You got people in Surrey, Langley area, right, all over the like Lower Mainland.
We're actually we'll plan out a golf trip.
Yeah.
That'll be a golf, kind of a tournament. Like we probably have 8 people total, so we'll have 2 different tee times of foursomes.
Yeah.
We could do 12, but we could do that in the future. 8's probably the max we need. A lot of responsibility, but they're
you could do teams.
Crazy these days too, a little bit.
Oh,
so
man. I think
8 Mondays is enough for a trip. That way you got 2 tee times. You could do 6. You could do 3 and 3 too.
I think we should try to focus on just getting 4 guys to do this, and then we're
but we have so many golfers that already wanted to go. Like
4 consistent.
I got at least already probably 5 guys that want to go. So it's like, do we go 6 of us, or do we add on 2 more and have 2 foursome groups? Or 6 guys is a lot of guys too, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
3 and 3 is actually not bad.
3 and 3, and even numbers are always going to be key. So
yeah.
What else do we want to talk about in today's podcast?
I think the last thing is just kind of touch up on the NHL.
Oh yeah, we should.
You know,
we don't talk
Florida,
about much.
man, still doing shit.
Dude, they just swept them.
Florida, man. They got 2 teams making it to the finals.
And both are 8 seeds.
Bro,
8
Miami or Florida, that entire state is lit right now.
Date's probably lit for
you got celebrities that are going to be going back and forth to games. Well, and they're going to be, obviously the games aren't going to be on the same days. It's always going to be one or the other.
I hope A-Rod and Derek Jeter aren't there, because they showed up for a Miami game 4 and these guys got blown the fuck out.
Fucking Derek Jeter, man.
And A-Rod too, man.
But it's like, it's a showcase, right? You got to show that you're there. The people that have those front row seat tickets, they're not easy to get.
Especially in Florida, man. You don't do much for hockey. And Brooks Koepka, he was a huge, he was at the Panthers game and shit too, right?
The crazy thing is, you know how they've been like promoting a lot of these new prices?
Yeah.
On like, oh, yo, these tickets cost $80,000 for a seat. It's actually not $80,000 for the game. It's just somebody that selling their tickets. Yeah. They're writing, hey, it's for $87,000. So you're not gonna buy that. You're gonna buy the same area for probably like say $1,000 each.
But
somebody's writing that. Nobody's buying it. It's nobody's buying it. You could tell, man, like they already have that whole section.
Yeah.
The top one out of that same section, it'd be like, say, section 324, you're in the nosebleeds. Yeah. They're mostly nosebleeds, these big ones. And it's like row 15. You could buy like row like 10, even closer or past it for like $1,000.
Damn.
But they just wrote 87. They're not even actually going to sell it. They're actually going to the game. They're just writing it to just kind of get. Now they're getting kind of a story out of it that it's posted at 87,000K.
We're going. Well, that's probably. I don't think you would ever pay that much for NHL. I'll say that much.
No.
I think
nobody. NHL tickets are one of the cheapest tickets, which is why I was kind of hoping Edmonton would have made it further. I wouldn't have minded going to Edmonton for a game because the flight is like $60 to $100 round trip.
I'm glad all the
you just go over, you get to watch a game. It would have been dope.
Yeah, too bad. Hope it doesn't happen again.
I hope it does.
We'll see.
Next year, Canucks. Everybody's fighting for it. I hope it's all. I hope all the Canadian teams make the playoffs.
If the Canucks are doing well, I care less about what the other teams are doing.
Because the crazy thing is, most of the teams that are doing well have a lot of Canadian players on them.
They do have a lot of Canadian players, but they're not Canadian teams, though. It's
they're not Canadian teams.
It's on the front, though, not on the back that I cheer against.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Edmonton's going to be a Stanley Cup contender next year anyways, right? Yeah. So at least up until the second round, then we'll see what happens.
I think our last topic is probably just F1 and UFC. I think F1, there wasn't much that happened. So there was a flood that happened in Italy. They're having floods where they've had to evacuate entire villages. Basically, it's gotten so bad. So they had to cancel it.
The F1 race there?
The F1 race in Italy. It's like, Ferrari's like main race because it's their Italian one.
That's a huge one, though.
So they got kind of rocked right now. So they've had to cancel 2 now. So they had to cancel China this year too also because China was in COVID protocol still.
Oh, shit.
So a new strain just came out. And it's actually deadlier. It's actually causing people to just continuously keep getting sick. So if you're already sick, it'll just get you sick again on top of that. So it's stuck in China though. They've locked it down to themselves.
Yeah.
But they had such like restricted things that there would have been no point of taking the risk of bringing F1 formula. So they canceled that one. That was the first one, and now this is their second cancellation. And now it's going to be a bunch of good summer ones because they get a little summer break too.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be coming
But Italy
back.
would have been a cool one though.
But Italy has like fucking like 2, I think, at least.
Do they actually?
Yeah, they got 2 different spots.
I'm behind on my F1.
Yeah, so Italy's like chilling, like, because it's all European places. A lot of European places get more than one because they're like the headquarters of that.
Makes sense.
Now, obviously, the States are going to be like the new market. Like Vegas, like November, man. It's a winter event, but it's outdoors. So you're not going to be able to walk this, some parts of the strip.
Really?
Yeah, because it's going to be shut down for a race. It's in this, like, you know where you would have been walking in Vegas on, like, in between the strip of, like, hotels?
Yeah.
That they're going to be driving through the hotels.
Holy shit. Well, I was reading, actually, I don't follow a whole lot of F1, but I follow more than I used to. Do you think, what his face, Hamilton leaves for Ferrari?
It's the story right now.
They said they're offering him a lot of fucking money.
They're thinking of doing a swap right now. So it'll be him going to Ferrari, and either they give out Carlos Sainz, and he'd go over to Mercedes, but Mercedes wants to trade him for Leclerc because they think Leclerc's a better racer. He just has a shittier car under him because he last year would have been the champion. It's just the car would break down on him. There was something with that car.
Who's Leclerc? Is he Red Bull?
No, he's a Ferrari. He's the leading Ferrari guy. And his car has just been off. Like, there's always something wrong with it, but if he's in the right car... And the shitty thing is the right car right now is only for Red Bull. Because both of theirs, Perez and Verstappen, run it. Like, Red Bull runs it. The fucked up thing is, like, Perez is Verstappen's number 2. He's the Robin to the Batman.
Yeah.
But this year, he's, like, turning into some, like, bad Robin. Like, that one where he turns into that guy from that TV show that they made where he's finding his own identity now, right?
Right.
So he's actually, like, now they're, like, 40 points away. Whereas usually the leader from the second place guy, like, when Hamilton played, it'd be like a 200-point difference.
Like, Hamilton would be so far
He'd be so far ahead, but then Verstappen caught up, and then, like, on one year he tied him, but this shit happened where they gave Verstappen the win, but it actually should have been Lewis Hamilton's, like, 9th win. But they fucked him over, 8th win. And they fucked him over on that one, and then now it's been Verstappen. But now his partner, when they brought in Perez, he's a good racer, but now he's in the fastest car. Red Bull is doing something to their car because they used to like create.
But they haven't been caught with anything, have they?
Like they catch each other all the time.
I know they have like inspections.
It's not publicized in the news as much because a lot of talking happens, little fines happen, but they keep a lot of shit on the inside, all the little fines, because those teams are willing to pay the fine. But if you watch the show, they show you the fines, where they happen, how the play happened, and like some of these teams don't like them being watched the entire time because you can't call the same shit.
Yeah.
So like now Red Bull, like they're kind of stuck. They got like 2 good racers, but like say if Perez is leading, but lap time, like as they're doing each lap, Verstappen's lap time is better. They'll tell Perez to slow the fuck down and let Verstappen pass you. Because it's going to be such a good lap time that he's going to like get a win, and the points helping. Not only are you trying to get points for yourself, you're trying to do team points.
Yeah.
And those team points matter because they're on a constructor cup, right? Like it's a totally different side. But now you got 2 top ones almost fighting right now. And like imagine them calling you on the radio and they're like, hey, can you back the fuck down and let Verstappen go? And you kind of have to listen to your team, or you taking it on a couple now. He's just ripped it on lap time that they kind of couldn't let Verstappen go. And on the radio, Verstappen's saying, let me go past. But Perez is like beating him on lap time, so like we can't, dude. He's like the time you're going, he's at that or better. So you could be pinning it as hard as you are right now, and at that, because the thing is, like, each lap matters, right? Like, each lap, you're not going to pass a guy, say, in 1 lap.
No.
It might take you 6 to 7 to 15 laps to pass the guy.
Yeah.
And in that time, as long as your car's faster overall on the track, you'll keep passing that guy slowly. You'll get closer, and then you can pass him in a cut.
Yeah.
And you only get so many opportunities, so you have to always be on the pace, like, be just ripping it, trying to make it as fast as you can.
But where would,
Because say at the start of Sunday's race, Saturday is actually qualifier.
Yeah.
So Saturday, if you have the fastest lap time, it's on nothing but lap time. If you get the fastest lap time on your 3 runs, that lap time it's your starting point. Fastest starts in the front. Second fastest is second. And you get the best spots on the grid. And usually in the front, it's like Verstappen, Perez, Leclerc. Leclerc will be usually in the front on qualifying day, but then when the race starts, somebody passes him or does something, his car fucks up, and they win. Like he should be, because he's actually the nephew of All the great racer for Ferrari that died in a crash.
For Ferrari?
Yeah, he's like Ryder, fuck, I can't even remember his name. He died, and then this guy was like his relative, and then he raced.
Was it recently?
No, it's been a while. It's been like probably like 7-8 years, if not more.
Damn.
And then he raced for Ferrari, and then think of Leclerc comes in, another French guy, and he played on another. He went to another car company first, and then he comes to Ferrari, and he's living out basically that family member's dream. Now he's in that spot and gets to first in so many races. And Monaco is his home race. That's where he's from. So when Vikram guys went, like he got first in qualifying, and then his car fucks up. And they're known for Red Bull's known for straight speed. They'll beat the shit out of you.
Yeah.
But on turning, Ferrari's known for just turning. So they're usually good at that Monaco because it's just pure turns. The city is just this
like
tiny little island area.
Ones, right?
Yeah. So you're watching like the lap. It's so quick, but it's all turning, and he got his ass beaten for that one.
Damn.
Vikram was like so happy. He's like, yeah, he's gonna win. I was like, no, you shouldn't have put his money on him, man. His car's been given out.
When's the Monaco race? Is it soon?
That is coming up, I think. I think that one's coming up. They got a couple of spots. They're gonna go to the Emirates, back to Europe. I think Austin's getting the next one, I believe. They get it at a good time. They get like at a decent time. It's warm there.
Good for Austin.
Yeah, they got a good population. Joe Rogan goes to them. He's brought like a huge. He's actually one thing Austin is kind of pissed off is that when he came there, it's not like he just like he came there and moved his family out there.
Yeah,
he moved like 15 comedians, 20 musicians, all these people the same time that he came there for him. Because they're like, if we live there, we can become buddies with them and come on the podcast often. The podcast, major marketing.
Yeah.
It's making you money. Like, you go on that podcast, you're like, I'll send you a couple of his podcasts you should listen to. And it's guys that, like, Jelly Roll is a really good one. He's like this fat rapper country guy. He actually does more country, but he brings like a R&B rap flow to it. And he's a white dude, too, all tied it up from like the hood in like the white neighborhoods. And he's actually married to an escort from Vegas.
Damn.
Like, beautiful woman, but like that was her profession. But he's like, dude, I was like nothing. He's like, she had a big podcast. She actually took me in. Like, I wasn't the, that guy that the sugar daddy, that was my sugar mama. Like, he's like honest. Like, she helped, and now he's blown up.
I mean, they were pissed off, right? Because he blew up Texas so fast.
And he used to actually get a lot of other cities, like Montana, he used to say, Idaho, a couple of these spots where he said, and like they saw a fluctuation in people going there to visit, looking for homes. They're like, yo, don't promote this. So like he's gotten almost in trouble. Yeah, like it's peaceful vibes. It's for a lot for people that like peace, community, hunting.
Yeah.
Because he's going into, like in Texas, you don't need many hunting licenses for different animals. They're just let you, and you're allowed to carry.
Yeah,
so when you're walking around town, you're allowed to concealed carry, man.
And they have a lot of their beliefs are a lot different than a lot of some of the other states.
Well, that's why like Elon Musk, Elon, and all these guys, everybody's going to that area. It's a lot of money went there. This man, he brought in 15 comedians that are top guys.
That's insane.
Top guys, and if you listen to some of his recent podcasts, the people he's bringing, everybody's the first because his club was supposed to open up like a long time ago. Shit got fucked up.
Like a comedy club?
A comedy club. And Louis C.K. went there and he's buddies with Louis C.K. And Louis C.K. saw it. He's like, bruh, nah. He's like, lower the roof. He's like, make that stage smaller. He's like, I had to go back to my building guys and tell them to change those things. Because Louis C.K. is like one of the smartest comedians in the world.
Is it to get more noise and stuff?
Yeah, it's because he's been in so many places, in the right places. He's like, I just, like, this is how you get the feel. And he built 2 different rooms, right? There, one's a bigger room, one's a smaller room style where you could just go practice shit. And it's like, and it took a while to build. Some permit things happened. The place he was originally going to get, it was like a cult. You can watch it on Netflix. It was a cult that lived there. This gay dude that used to like make women bring heterosexual guys to his cult, and he just turned them gay. He started banging these dudes, had a cult, and he's like, yo, I can't be in this building. And then he got a different building, and now he does his comedy. It opened up finally, and like people moved before he was even going to build it. Like he said he was going to start something up and had already moved. Then it kept going prolonged. People like, yo, like we're out in Austin, like what the fuck? Then it opens up and bang, now it's just comedy show after comedy show. He's got a spot, his best friend's got a spot in his spot, and another one of their best friends is across the street. So they got all these different styles of comedy. It's not all the same thing. Everybody's doing their own comedy. He's bringing a lot to Austin, man. So basically, even for the UFC right now, like it's been a roller coaster. They've had so many championship battles, basically. That literally, it's been like, look at Adesanya fought, man. This guy had to fight Alex Pereira to get his championship back to a guy that he's never beat, even though in the kickbox scene he got pretty close.
Yeah.
And then this guy comes back. Like, most guys wouldn't want to fight that guy right away in that time frame that he wanted to get back. Like, look at Kamaru Usman coming that quick back.
Yep.
Got his ass beat. Like, that could have happened to Izzy too. But Izzy just went back, practiced the right shit, and came back with the method.
He beat him up pretty good, didn't he?
Dude, he fucking knocked him out.
Yeah.
And he did the sleeping thing to his kid.
Oh, that was
Like 99.
But his kid, who
His kid did it to him,
right?
In kickboxing, he never forgot, dude. And he brought that back. He pointed at the kid. And he's like, 99. And he fell to the ground. Did the exact same thing.
But that was the only guy that ever gave him trouble in kickboxing.
And now, so the crazy thing is UFC 291, we'll watch that one together because it's got some of the craziest fights.
Is that June?
Poirier versus Gaethje.
When's that one?
June, I think. Yeah, it's in June. It's coming up. And it's going to be Gaethje versus Poirier. So, we're going to find another title contender probably coming out of that.
Yeah.
Then you got Blachowicz and Pereira. Alex Pereira.
Oh, that's coming up.
Coming to light heavyweight now. So he's going to fight the champion there right now, Blachowicz, the guy that Izzy tried to move up to beat, but he couldn't beat that guy, remember?
Is this, which fight, when is this?
UFC 291.
Oh, 291. I was looking at 289.
Might be July, actually.
That could be
It's
August.
pure summer, I think. It was
That's
a pure
August,
summer.
I think it could be.
I think it's July.
Because 289 is June 10th. So 290 should be July. Let's take a look here in the UFC schedule. I'm pretty sure 291. So June 3rd is UFC Fight Night. That doesn't count. UFC 290 is on July 8th. 291 is July 29th. Oh, they got two in July.
Yeah, so they shoved in two right now.
Holy fuck. And then they got one 3 weeks later, UFC 292. With Sterling versus O'Malley in Boston. They just announced that as, I think, the main event.
God damn.
They got 3 UFC events in fucking 6 weeks.
Yeah. They got some like crazy, like finally the UFC is starting to get like, it's not just one guy dominating. There's actually players in the game. Like, those Chuck Liddell, Rampage Jackson days when there wasn't just like, one guy dominated for a while, guy'd come like back, he'd start dominating, there'd be a different guy dominating. GSP comes in, man, probably my favorite like UFC guy there ever is. That's the guy next time we go to Montreal, we got to go to their gym. Because if you go to his gym with a basketball, he plays a lot of basketball now. So if you go to him with basketball to his gym, you can actually get a chance, if he's there that day, to go play a ball game right outside their gym.
That'd be sick. What'd you do in GSP? Just shot some hoops.
Huh? Yeah, straight up.
Right? A great story.